हेलो स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम पढ़ेंगे द फैक्टर्स responsible for backwardness and stagnation of Indian agriculture. What are the factors which are responsible for backwardness and stagnation of Indian agriculture during British rule? During British rule. So कौन से फैक्टर्स रेस्पॉन्सिबल हैं जिनकी वजह से हमारा जो एग्रीकल्चर है वो बैकवर्ड रहा और स्टेगनेंट रहा. इट डिडंट डेवलप, इट डिडंट बिकम a vibrant sector. Basically we have two factors, principal factors responsible for backwardness and stagnation of Indian agriculture during British rule. We have two principal factors which caused the backwardness and stagnation of agriculture in India during British rule. What are these factors? The first and main factor was land revenue system. Land revenue system under British rule. First main factor was the land revenue system in the British rule was invented in such a way that it became a great hurdle, a great obstacle in the way of agriculture to become it a developed sector. It didn't develop due to faulty revenue system under British rule. The British government in India invented a unique system of land revenue by setting up a triangular land revenue system. There has been a triangular relationship among the government, the owners of soil, and the tillers of soil. So there was a triangular system of land revenue. One was government, another was owners of soil, and the next was tillers of soil. So this land revenue system, it was popularly known as zamindari system of land. So this revenue system was called the zamindari system of land revenue. According to this system, what was zamindari land revenue system? So they introduced a triangular system or triangular relationship between government, owners of land, and the tillers of land. The system was called the zamindari system of land revenue. So in British rule, there was zamindari system of land revenue. What was this system? According to this system, the zamindars were recognized as permanent owners of soil. First, we have zamindars, a section of society which was called the zamindars. The zamindars were the permanent owners of soil. These zamindars, they were to pay a fixed sum to the government as revenue. They were they were they were to pay a fixed sum to the government as land revenue as land revenue. So first was zamindars. They were permanent owners of soil. They were compelled to pay a of money, fixed sum of amount to the government as land revenue. So the zamindars were absolutely free to appropriate as much from the tiller of the soil as they could. So they were on one side they were compelled to pay a fixed sum to the government, but on the other hand they were given freedom by the government to charge any part of the produce from the tillers of soil. So they were absolutely free to receive any share of production from the tillers of soil. The direct impact of this system of land revenue was that zamindars attempt maximum possible exploitation of tillers of the soil. So under this system, the zamindars were doing committing मैक्सिमम पॉसिबल एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. वो जबरदस्त जिस हद तक उनको चाहे वो टिलर्स अब काश्तकारों पे जुल्म करते थे और कोई भी हिस्सा उनसे छीन लेते थे as their share. They could frequently raise the demand of land revenue and frequently eject the existing tillers with a view to enhancing it. So they were frequently raising the demand of land revenue from the tillers of soil, and frequently if they deny they were frequently changing the tillers of the soil. एक से छीन ली जमीन दूसरे को दे दी, अगर इस शेयर पे आप ले लोगे तो तब आपको जमीन मिलेगी. So ejection of tillers reduced them to the states of landless laborers. So tillers were thrown to such a condition, the tillers were thrown to such a condition that they become landless laborers. There was hardly any permanent interest in agriculture. It was almost ruined. However, agriculture was never deserted, even by the poorest of the poor. This was owing to the lack of alternative means of subsistence. So, this was the main cause, principal cause responsible for the backwardness and stagnation in Indian agriculture. That is, land revenue system was so rough, so rude that it ruined the condition of the tillers of the soil. The next factor, second factor was forced commercialization of agriculture. Second, forced commercialization of agriculture. What was this factor? This factor was that farmers were forced. Farmers in this agriculture system during British rule, farmers were forced to shift to commercial crops. They were producing subsistence crops, but the government forced them to shift to commercial crops so that they can earn more and more revenue. Indigo in particular from the conventional subsistence crops like rice, wheat, etc. Reason indigo was required by the textile industry in British. So farmers were farmers were forced to shift to indigo crops, indigo crops from subsistence crops, from subsistence crops like rice and wheat. It was because it was because indigo it was because indigo was required indigo was required indigo was required by the textile industries in British by the textile industries in British. So Britishers forced compelled the farmers to shift from subsistence crops like wheat, rice, etc., jawar, bajra to indigo crops, those crops which were used by the industries in British. So quite often the farmers were forced to accept advance payments for the cultivation of indigo. The farmers were forced to accept advance payments for the cultivation of indigo. Forced commercialization exposed the subsistence farmers to uncertainties of the market, while earlier they would grow grain for their family consumption. When they would this produce subsistence crops, it was used by the family for self consumption. Now they needed cash to buy it from the market, but they would seldom have cash owning to their ever compounding indebtedness. So they were compelled to go for borrowing, which was charged with high interest. Consequences stick its consequence was stick to agriculture and always be at the mercy of the landlords or money lenders. So when they were forced to borrow money from the landlords and money lenders, they were they were put on the mercy of the landlords and money lenders. Briefly, agriculture under British rule was exploited as a source of revenue by the land owners. So why this is the main factor? Because this agriculture, Indian agriculture, was exploited as a source of revenue for landowners as well as for the government. Unfortunately, the revenue was never invested in agriculture. It was spent or rather wasted on the luxurious lifestyle of the parasite class, better known as zamindars. Consequently, on the eve of independence, on the eve of independence, agriculture sector of the economy was absolutely backward, stagnant, and non-vibrant. So it didn't become dynamic and vibrant or developed. Partition of the country in 1947 struck the final blow. The impact was significantly severe upon jute production because the bulk of fertile land under jute production went to East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. So these are some of the factors responsible for backwardness and stagnation of Indian agriculture. One was the land revenue system under British rule, and next was forced commercialization of agriculture crops. Farmers were compelled to shift from subsistence crops to the commercial crops for the sake of providing raw material to the British industries, and second, to realize huge amount of revenue from tillers of soil to the zimidars and the government, which was nothing but exploitation of the farmers, exploitation of these tillers of soil for the sake of parasites like zamindars and the white collar people in the government. This was On the other hand, the revenue realized it was even not used for the development of agriculture. The land, the tillers of soil were left on the mercy of the moneylenders and landlords for the borrowing to buy subsistence goods from the open market. Thank you very much.